Hi, how are you doing today? Good. Well, I am so excited that you're here today. I am really looking forward to helping you plan your trip to Japan. In my opinion, Japan is one of the most amazing destinations to travel to, and planning it is almost just as fun, also. So, there's just so many things to see and experience in Japan, so I know you're going to have just an absolutely amazing time. So, I'm just going to be here to kind of give you a little bit more info about Japan and some places you might want to see and visit and where you want to stay. So, I would love to go ahead and get started if you're ready. And do you have any questions? No? Okay. So, I want to just talk to you a little bit about your opinions and your travel style and just get to know you a little bit, if that's okay. To help me plan the most amazing itinerary for you, I'm just going to ask a couple questions, okay? And I'm just going to write down the answers to them. Okay. So let's start out with a couple questions. Do you normally, when you travel, prefer to stay in like a hotel or Airbnb or hostel? Okay. Okay, great. So we're looking more for a hostel this time. Okay, fabulous. There are so many hostels in Japan, and especially in Tokyo, and all of them are really interesting, and also some are very unique and very nice. So I'm not sure, for a hostel, do you think that you'd be looking more for like a shared dormitory or a single bedroom? Okay, shared dormitory. Okay. Now I know sometimes there's like more people to a room or less people to a room. Do you have a preference, or you want to just go for maybe less people? Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we're going to have no problem finding you an excellent place to stay. And as like traveling alone mostly and being in a hostel, you're going to have the opportunity to meet so many other people, and that can be a really fun experience. So hostels are really perfect for that. And normally people are really nice, so sometimes you can just tag along with them. Okay. So for food preference, are you a seafood eater or not really? Or how do you feel about that? Okay. So you are a seafood eater, perfect. So I'm glad, because Japan specializes mostly in seafood, really fresh, delicious seafood, and you can get so many different kinds. If you're not feeling seafood one day, there's also a ton of other options that Japan has, such as, let's say, ramen. The ramen there is absolutely fabulous. I highly recommend trying it. And let's see what else. There is different kinds of noodles like udon and soba, which are also delicious. And then you can also get like katsu pork, katsu chicken, and curry. Those are all really good. So you have plenty of options, okay? So don't worry. Okay. And let's say, as far as tourist attractions and things to see, how do you feel about shopping the city, going out, versus visiting some shrines and temples and getting more of that nature feel? Okay, perfect. So a bit of both. I think that's actually going to be quite excellent for this kind of trip, because Japan has so much to offer. I mean, you can definitely go and see all the shrines and temples. They're really hard to miss because they're everywhere. And Tokyo offers a bit of nature in some places, which is a nice break from the city. So in all the different neighborhoods they have, there's just so many different things to see. So I think just visiting all the neighborhoods you're interested in, and then also going to see the temples and shrines, will be just such a wonderful mix. Okay. And as far as alcohol consumption goes, do you partake in that or no? Okay. You do drink, okay. As far as alcohol goes in Japan, some things that I recommend are sake. You can get it hot or cold, and I actually prefer it hot. I think it's really, really nice when you drink it with a meal. It just really like makes you feel kind of warm and cozy inside, and it's very delicious. Okay. And besides sake, there is, Japanese beer, which you might have already had. So that kind of goes along with like Asahi and Sapporo. I don't know if you've tried those or not. Okay. Yeah, so those are good. And then also one of my favorites is plum wine. So I think that is very delicious. And if you've never tried it before, then I definitely recommend trying it. Okay, excellent. Okay, and let's see. As far as transportation goes, do you think that you'll be using more public transportation or renting a car or just doing taxi and Uber? Yes, the public transportation in Japan is excellent, and you can get so many places. Unless you go deep into the countryside, then you kind of get a little bit screwed out there, but it's okay. You can hitchhike in Japan. I have done it in some places. I'm pretty sure it should be safe all around. So if you do get lost, you can always try and hitchhike. So as far as visiting neighborhoods in Japan, there is so many to see. I recommend a couple for you specifically since it's your first time in Japan. So I just kind of want to go through some of those with you, okay? Alright. So I definitely recommend some of the neighborhoods like Shinjuku, Harajuku, Shibuya, Asakusa, Roppongi if you like more nightlife, Akihabara. So I know you don't really know what all of these are exactly, but so Akihabara is more of like a good neighborhood if you're like an anime lover or if you like games. So if you like anime figurines, I highly recommend going here to get some. And if you don't, I still recommend going there because it's just such a unique neighborhood. So also in Akihabara, I recommend doing a Maid Cafe. I don't know if you've heard of them, which I'm sure you might have. Okay. So maid cafes are very, very unique, and it's just an experience that I recommend trying because it's really interesting. So I actually went, and I'll show you my picture here. I went in 2019, and I got a picture. Here is me with my maid. This is me and my maid here. And it was just so much fun, and you can get really interesting like desserts and food, and I don't want to spoil it for you. I just want you to go try it because it's really cool. So talk about culture shock there. Let's see. There's also Harajuku, which you've probably heard of. It's kind of a super fashion district. A lot of people like to wear their very fashionable clothes there. And they have like cat cafes and owl cafes, which if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend trying it. And let's see, they also have like dessert places. So around there you can get like giant rainbow cotton candy, which is really fun. And near that is the Meiji Shrine, which is a really nice piece of nature in Tokyo. So kind of give you a little break from the city over there and just kind of enjoy some relaxing temples and shrines, just kind of surrounded by like a forest. So it's really pretty. Yes, yeah, it's like right next door. Like it's really easy to walk from the Meiji Shrine to back into the city. So Asakusa has a lot of really nice temples and shrines. It's just a great neighborhood to go experience, especially in the evening. It's really cool. I mean, all of the neighborhoods are amazing. I recommend kind of trying each of them. You could go to lunch in Asakusa, or not Asakusa, let's say like Omotesando. That's kind of like a more high-end luxury shopping, and they have restaurants. And I guess it's known as like the Champs-Elysees of Tokyo. So you could like go there for the afternoon and then go to Asakusa in the evening. So just to kind of experience the more nightlife of Asakusa. So let's see, besides that, in Shibuya they have, the major walkway crossings. I think there's like 5 or 6, and the one that goes just straight across the intersection. It's really famous, so I definitely recommend doing that and walking across the street there. So for the neighborhoods, I think that is a good start for you for sure. Let's see. In general, other things that I would like to recommend you to try are Izakayas, which is kind of more of a Japanese style pub bar. They're really cool. And then other places to eat would be ramen, like I mentioned before. A lot of different ramen restaurants, different kinds. And then also kaiten sushi, which I'm sure you've seen it. It's also known as like translated as conveyor belt sushi. So you just kind of like sit around a conveyor belt. It's a bit different at different places, and you can order what you want on the screen, or you tell the sushi chef, and it'll just come around to you. And I think some places, when it gets to you or it's approaching, it'll do like a little ring and tell you like your food is approaching. And it's just so much fun. And if you don't order something specific, you can just pick something up off of the conveyor belt. And then once you're done, you have your stack of plates, and usually the different color plates are different prices. And so your waiter or waitress will come over and count your plates and then bring your check, and then you'll go pay at the front. It's a really fun experience. I think I went there like so many different times. So let's see. I think that is good for that. And let's see about... write some of this down of what you're interested in. Okay, I want to go ahead and talk about day trips. So since you're going to be in Japan for what, 2 to 3 weeks about? Okay, I think that you could fit in about 2 day trips comfortably, or 3 if you really want to. So, and as far as day trips, I recommend 2 to 3 days max. You could do more if you want. If you end up getting to one of the places and you absolutely love it, then I recommend staying there for a bit longer, because, if you can be flexible, you definitely should. And as far as hostels go, they're not like super expensive to stay at. So if you miss a night there, depending on your budget, it might not completely break the bank for you. So if you're really loving a place and feeling it, please stay there and just really soak it in. Because you don't want to go home and regret, oh, I wish I had stayed in Nikko a bit longer. Kyoto was so pretty. I wish I had gone back to that shop and gotten that thing. I've had that experience before, and don't be like that. Don't do it. If you're feeling it, stay there. Okay, trust your gut. Trust how you feel. If you're able to be flexible, that is. So, for day trips, I highly recommend, since Tokyo will be your home base, I recommend Nikko, which is just a bit north, and Mount Fuji, which is south, and then Kyoto, or let's say some other ones are Kamakura, or Hakone, and Yokohama also. So there's quite a few you could try. So Kyoto is more like a very traditional city, and it's very popular. They also have more of the city side to it, of course. So it has a lot going on in there, and I think it's 100% worth visiting. And Mount Fuji, if you're a hiker or interested in hiking, you could always climb Mount Fuji. I think that sometimes it could take around 15 hours or more, and they have different stations on the mountain that you can stay at and sleep in if you, I think, book ahead. And they have like food and drinks available there. So that will be a bit more planning on that side, but if you want to do it, you should 100% do it. I would probably give like 2 days for that, because you gotta get there and then climb and then the recovery. So just give yourself about a day and a half to 2 days to do that. Don't rush yourself or get sick or anything. So that would be a great idea. And then Nikko is more of like kind of a bit more in the countryside, there's like a really beautiful river there and mountains and lots of temples and shrines to visit. It's very, very peaceful and beautiful. So if you're more into that side, you should definitely go. Of course, there's mountains all around in Japan, so you can't really go wrong with visiting different places. And if you like it enough, then you can always plan to go to that place on your next trip. Okay. So, before we move on, I have this folder here, and this kind of just has a bit of information on different things, and it also has a map of the subway or public transportation in Tokyo, okay? Tokyo is an absolutely enormous city, okay? So, make sure that you keep a map with you or know where you're going. Remember where you're staying in case your phone dies, and we can talk more about that later, but just make sure that you have a map on you or have some idea of where to go, okay? Especially if you don't speak a lot of Japanese, you could still ask someone and see if they speak English, which a decent amount of people in Tokyo can speak English, so and people in Japan are so nice, so you shouldn't have much of a problem. But so in this folder I have a couple things. Here's the map. This map is really big, okay? So this is kind of what it looks like. It's enormous. So this is good to keep in your backpack or like at your hostel or wherever you're staying. See, look. It's very big. So down here at the bottom is a smaller map here. And you can just cut this part out and keep this with you, okay? Like in your bag. This is literally the perfect size. I recommend finding where your home base station is, nearest to your hotel, and just highlighting or circling that so you know which trains to take to get back home, okay? This is very important, especially if you've never taken like public transportation as far as trains go, and you don't really know how they work very well. You want to take some time to really understand that it can be a bit confusing to some people if you've never done it before, and you don't want to get there and get frustrated and miss your trains constantly and get lost or get on the wrong train, okay? So just make sure you know where you're going and don't panic, okay? The biggest thing is just stay calm. I know I first rode the trains in Paris and I had no idea what I was doing, and I freaked out and I took the wrong trains, and one of the trains was closed, so I had to find a new route, and I was just so flustered. And when I got to Japan, it was a bit even more confusing because a lot of stuff was in Japanese and it was just a bit different, but eventually you get it. It can just be overwhelming, but don't worry, you'll get it and it'll be fine, and it'll be a breeze after. So besides that, in this folder, I have just some other things, just some other advertisements to show you some other places you can stay in Japan, more specifically in Tokyo. I have one in here for Yokohama. I don't think you'll be staying in Yokohama, but it doesn't hurt to look. Keep your options open. And just some other places like a social apartment. It just kind of shows you what they have in their little brochure and what like the kitchen looks like and what the dining area and the hangout area looks like. And then also some info on Japanese SIM cards. So if you're interested in that, plenty more information in here. So this is for you. And if you need any other information, just let me know. I'll send you some other things in like a PDF document through an email, okay? Okay, so let me just write some of this down. Do you have any questions after hearing about all that? Yes, I'm actually going to talk about that in a few minutes. Yeah. So yes, things to bring. I recommend bringing comfortable shoes that can be taken off easily. You will find in Japan there are oftentimes some restaurants that have you take off your shoes before you sit at the table, and oftentimes these tables, like it's tatami mats that you'll be sitting on. So sometimes it's just easier to just be able to slip your shoes on and off, especially if you have to get up to go to the bathroom and come back and whatnot. So it's a good thing to have. And also in izakayas, oftentimes you'll have to sit on tatami mats also. Besides that, onsens will also have you take off your shoes when you get in there. So you normally put on like slippers or something and then go into the onsen. So a lot of times you'll have to leave your shoes in like a little cubby and you'll get like a key or something like that. So taking off your shoes will be kind of a more normal thing, but it might seem like a bit of a hassle, but I think that maybe you'll find you'll really enjoy doing activities where you take your shoes off. So yeah. Okay, so for traveling, I don't know if you travel a lot, but you'll want to get an international adapter. I recommend just getting one that fits into a lot of different countries. So if you do travel again in the future, you'd already have an adapter, and for charging, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's really, really convenient. And then also a charging block. So if you're out all day and your phone starts to die, and you need to charge it, that will save you. And I highly, highly recommend you having that. Okay. Another thing is bringing antiperspirant. Okay, Japan has a bit different things than you might normally experience in the US, and one of the things that I found that they don't have a lot of normally is like actual deodorant sticks, which we use in the US, or if they do, they're just a bit different. So I recommend bringing like a new or a full-size deodorant with you. It's just one of those things, and you'll find that there are other things like that. Don't expect to eat a lot of fruit in Japan. It's very expensive. So if you eat fruit, normally it'll be maybe at like a cafe or something like that, with like a dessert. And fruit is really cheap in the US, but it's just not the case in Japan. So you'll end up seeing like gift boxes with fruits in them, like cantaloupes or pineapple, and for a very expensive price. So you'll see a lot of things that you'll just be like, wow, that's crazy, but it's just how it is over there, and it's really interesting. So besides that, when you first get to the airport, I recommend taking out a lot of cash. So that'll be yen, and you'll be using cash a couple different places, so it's better to just get it and have it at the beginning of your trip, and then get more later if you find an ATM. You don't want to be needing cash and running around the place finding an ATM. I've been there, and it's not fun. So make sure you have some yen on you. It's just really convenient sometimes. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for that. Just to kind of get a better idea before I complete your itinerary, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions on things that you think you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to start with day trips. From what you've heard and kind of what you researched before, are you feeling that you would be more interested in Mount Fuji or Kamakura? Mount Fuji? Okay, I think that's an excellent choice for you. Are you thinking about maybe hiking it? Great, I think you're really going to enjoy that. Okay, excellent. And for a day trip, are you thinking more Kyoto or Nikko? Okay, Kyoto. I think that's also an excellent choice. And if you do find you have time to go to Nikko, you definitely can. And as far as where you want to stay, are you thinking more Shibuya or... Okay, Asakusa and Shinjuku? Yeah, there's a lot of good places to stay. You think Shibuya? Okay, I think that'll be a really good choice. I think you'll really enjoy staying there. And you know, you can even stay there for like 3 nights and then go to another neighborhood for 3 other nights. It's completely up to you with how much you want to travel around and whatnot. Okay, and how do you feel about trying cultural activities such as like sushi making or a traditional tea ceremony? Okay. Yes, a traditional tea ceremony. That would be so perfect for your trip in Kyoto. They have a lot of those. I think you'll really enjoy that. And then also they have yukatas, which you can wear. They're kind of like kimonos, but not exactly. And you can even wear those out in Kyoto on the streets and take pictures at the shrines and the shops and the beautiful streets there. So that would be really fun for you also. Okay, excellent. Well, I think that gives me a very good idea of what you're interested in and what kind of your trip will look like. I know where you want to stay, what you want to do, where you want to go. So that really kind of helps me plan it out and complete it very soon so then we can start booking stuff, okay? Yeah, so do you have any other questions for me? No? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you so much for letting me help plan your trip to Japan. It'll be here before you know it, and I know you're gonna have just so much fun, especially with all the things we've talked about, and I'm even just super excited for you. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much again, and let me know if you have any questions, and once I finish up the itinerary, I'll send it over to you and kind of hear what you like, what feedback you have or what changes you want, okay? And then we'll start really planning. Okay, great. Alright, well, I hope you have a wonderful day, okay? I'll see you later.